PSU, Universitas Alangkah, UNAIR, and University Utara Malaysia, UUM. Right here at the room BSc 4, Basic Science Lecturer and Laboratory Building, Faculty of Science, PSU Hat Yai. Also, this afternoon, I would like to invite everyone to our new MC, Mr. Praset Sakwansila, Global Affairs and Corporate Communication Center. And our afternoon section begin with invited talk 3 on the topic of the key to a winning presentation by Dr. Siriwit Itiso Ponpisan, winner of the Audience Prize, FameLab 2021. Please allow us to present a brief introduction for the speaker.
Good afternoon. Dr. Siriwit Itiso Ponpisan, Dr. ICE, received PhD in area of life science research from Imperial College London, the United Kingdom, with a large number of teaching and research work items. It's of great pleasure that Dr. Siriwit passed competency evaluation of teaching and learning for UK Professional Standard Framework, UKPSF, as Fellow level, which is equivalent to level Professional Teacher of PSU or PSU TPSF. Recently, Dr. Siriwit was the winner of FameLab Thailand 2021, and he got People's Choice Award as well. Moreover, Dr. Siriwit is a ballroom and Latin dancer. In particular, he also teaches English and other beneficial matters at faculty as well as via TikTok and YouTube with millions of views. At present, Dr. Siriwit has got the position of lecturer in the curriculum of molecular biotechnology and bioinformatics, Division of Biological Science, Faculty of Science, PSU Hat Yai campus. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Siriwit Itiso Ponpisan, winner of Audience Prize FameLab 2021 for invited talk on the topic, the key to a winning presentation. Please welcome.
Today at AIYC event 2022, and also I'm so honored to be here to deliver my presentation on how to create a winning presentation. Also, thank you so much for such a nice introduction. So before we begin, let me share my screen in a bit. I hope you can all see my screen well. All right. You a lawyer Nick and Wait. Is about the treatment of the age-related macular degeneration. Is about the eye disease that if it's left untreated, people will be left with vision like this. So it's going to be very blurry. Some people could get blind. So he ends his presentation by using this structure. So I would like you guys to have a look all together here. So now I want everyone to look at this image. So please have a look at this image, this blurry image here. Imagine living the rest of your life with vision like this. So next time, when you're with your loved ones, study their faces, their every feature, commit that to the memory, cherish that image, because 1 in 7 of you will lose that ability if nothing is done about this disease. Now, do you feel something? Do you feel this is quite a sad situation? This is not fun at all. This is not a happy situation. If you can try to create your script so that it can stimulate the people feeling, then your presentation is going to be much more effective. So by stimulating their feeling, it doesn't mean that you have to be sad all the times. You can try to make them happy. You can try to make them amazed. You can try to make them excited, or you can try to make it so fun that they can laugh. So if people can associate their feeling with the information that they get, the presentation is going to be much more memorable, and people will be, for sure, will be able to memorize what you say during the presentation. Okay? So that's also another thing. You can also play with your voice, because your voice has a big contribution to how the audience can perceive the information. Even the same sentence, even with the same sentence, if you speak differently, the way that the information is conveyed can be dramatically different. But here's a general tip that I can give you the advice. So if you want something to be fun, you can try to speed up your speech so that it can be a little bit of fun and excitement. You can speak fast for that purpose. But if you're saying something very serious, if you mean something very serious, it is best to slow down, to emphasize something that is important. You can raise up your pitch, also to give a fun and exciting feel, right? To speak at a high pitch. Or if you want to be serious, you can go with a low pitch. So slow speed and low pitch will dramatically give the audience the feeling of something very serious and something that they have to carefully listen to. You can It is very important to use a loud voice. But if you want to change how people perceive you, that you are gentle, you are mild, you want to make people feel safe, for example, then you can use a soft voice, like you whisper through, into their ear. So as you can see, by speeding up, by slowing down, by using high pitch, by using low pitch, or by using a loud voice or a soft voice, they all can affect the way people feel, or the way people think about you, or the way people perceive the information. So you can try to like make an adaptation. So in some parts of your okay. So the first part that I was talking about was about how to create your script, how to play with how your audience can hear. Now let's talk about how your audience can see through the visual. Sometimes you are allowed to bring in visual aids like props, like something that you can carry on to stage to show to your audience. Why is using visual aids important? So using visual aids, it can demonstrate things that can make them memorable. Sometimes you're talking about something that is difficult. It is important to have some example in terms of an object so that you can show them so they can see, oh, okay, you're talking about this thing. Okay, that thing looks just like this. It can also draw attention. Like when you want them to look at you, when you want them to look at something, you can bring in the prop, you can show the prop at the time that you need attention. Also, this is a very important thing. It helps them remember. Why? Because as they hear the story from you, they see the visual aid that you show to them. So their senses, two of the senses are stimulated at the same time, right? They got stimulated by their hearing, they got stimulated by their vision. So when the two are combined, it helps them memorize the thing even further. So this is why visual aids can also be an effective way of communicating. If you are using the PowerPoint presentation, then this is going to be very helpful for you. So I'm speaking here at the AIYC 2022 event. I know that many of you guys are competing later on, and there is no props, there is no PowerPoint presentation used. But after that, when you have to present something, maybe at your department, at your university, with a PowerPoint presentation, then this might be very helpful for you guys. So if you want to stimulate people's attention through PowerPoint presentations, I want you to remember 4 things that can catch people's eyes. The first thing is the moving object. So anything that can move can catch people's attention. The second thing is the signaling colors. Anything that can give the signal color, it can also catch people's attention. The third thing is a contrast-rich object. Anything that is in high contrast will stand out the most. And the final thing is a big object. Anything that is big will catch people's attention. So let me demonstrate this for you guys. So as you are all sitting in the hall right now, let's play a little bit of the game, okay? So as you can see, there are 4 boxes on the screen now. There are 4 boxes on the screen now. I want you guys to pick one that you like the most. Just pick one box that you like the most, and then I would like you to stare at that box all the time. Do not turn your head to, or do not change your eyes to anywhere else. Just look at that box, look at that particular object, stare at it, don't look at anywhere else. And now, I think 90% of you guys will get distracted by that black ant that's moving on the left part of the slide. Why is that? That is because that black ant is a moving object. And now that explains why moving objects can catch people's eyes, even though you are trying to fix your eyes, at one particular box. You are distracted by the moving black ants. Can you see? These black ants represent the PowerPoint animations. So you can use PowerPoint animations at the time that you want the audience to have a look at. But use it carefully, because if you use it too much, too many animations can also be rather distracting, just like this kind of ant as well. Okay, so use it carefully when you want to gain attention through PowerPoint presentation. Now let's play a game one more time. I want you guys to have a look at one particular box, the one that you choose, okay? And just stick your eyes at that particular box all the time. Don't look anywhere else. And let's see whether this will work or not. Okay? Pick one, look at it. Don't look at anywhere else. Now you can see that you are distracted one more. Why? Because there's a red signal, the flashing red light happening at box number 2 and also at box number 4. Can you see that you tend to turn your attention to anything that is flashing? So that red circle represents the signaling color. What about the contrast-rich object? What about the contrast-rich object? So anything that is in high contrast tends to get attention more than any other object. For example, let's have a look at this. So as you see, box number 3 get the highest contrast as compared to other boxes. So the contrast-rich object here, it has the black background. It's also in yellow here. So the contrast is the most intense one. And that is why your attention tends to go for the third box here. All right. What about a big object? All right. As to give you an example of a big object, let's move on to the next slide. So please have a look on the screen now. Again, 90% of you will read this phrase first. You will read this first. And then many of you guys will notice this. And then you will read this one. And finally, probably the last thing that you will notice is the one on top of the screen here, and you will read this one at the end. This helps explain why big objects can really draw attention. Anything that you want attention, you can just make it big. Also, when you want to present like a graphic or a graph or a diagram, make sure that you simplified it so that it is as easy as possible for the audience to see. So as you present a PowerPoint slide, so you have a very limited amount of time to present, probably just 1 minute or less. And the audience as well, they got about 1 minute to digest the information. So they won't have time to have a look here and there, just try to understand what it is on the graph. So you could try to help them memorize it easier by just changing the way you create a graph so that it is much easier for them to see. Let's take a look at this one, this line, and this red line. As you see, when you notice the red line, you can see that it goes up and then finally it comes down this way. And then you may have to memorize this is red, and you have to go to the top. Okay, which one is red? All right, this is computer science. As you see, and then you can figure out that, okay, this line represents the computer science. What about this line? The dark green one, probably it is a medical school, I think. Yeah, so you may spend a few seconds trying to figure out what is what. But compared to the one on the right side here, as you see, as your eyes travel along the line here, at the end of the line, you notice right away that this red line is computer sciences. This particular light green one is physical sciences. This is much easier. The audience can notice, the audience can receive the information much faster than the first one. So if you can simplify the chart, do it. Another important information is that you should simplify your slide so that one slide can only represent one idea, one main idea. Many people made a mistake by trying to include lots of information in just one PowerPoint slide, and that is probably a nightmare for the audience because no one wants to listen to a messy or a crowded PowerPoint slide. They want to look at something nice, something clean, with less information so that they know where, which topic is being presented at a time. Okay. So if you've got like lots of topics, lots of points, try to split them into, one slide per one main idea. And that is going to make your presentation much easier to understand. So don't be afraid that you are going to have like lots of pages. You are going to have so many pages. The important thing is that you have to make sure that the audience is with you at the time that you are talking about something. So one slide, one main idea, remember. It's not only that your PowerPoint slides or your props is important, but also yourself, how you look also matters a lot. Why? You can think of the presentation like a whole package, which consists of the presenter, the prof, the PowerPoint presentation in some situations. So everything has to go together. And how you look is also part of it as well. So as you present, make sure that you dress smart, you look nice and clean. You don't have to dress like a rich person, but at least it has to be nice and clean. Okay. The way you appear online as well. So make sure if you are presenting online, make sure that you are in a well-lit room. The environment is bright enough so that you can be seen clear. Most of the mistake that I can see through seminar presentation is that people don't care about how they look online. They might like sit with their back facing the window, letting the natural light coming in, and then in the room it's too dark that they ended up looking like a criminal in Detective Conan. So don't try to do something like that. Instead, try to lit up the room a little bit more. You may try to sit facing the window so that you let natural light come in, and then that will make you look much nicer and cleaner when you present. The body language, this is also part of the presentation as well. If you are presenting, let's say on site, on a stage, I think body language is probably one of the most important things that can help, your audience memorize your presentation. Why? Because by using body language, it can help you express your idea even better. You can use your arms. You can open your arm to say that how open you are. You can use fingers to give them the sense of numerical numbers. Like there are 3 reasons, as I say, there are 3 reasons I put my fingers up like this. 3 reasons. There are 3 reasons. There are 3 reasons why you should listen to me. There are 2 reasons why we have to save the environment. Or you can say, in this city, there are 5 million people. As I say 5 million, I put my hands up like this. So this is also one of the way that you can use the body language to enhance your presentation. Also, the body language can also help interpret people's moods and emotion. Like when you cross your arms, imagine the time that the presenter can cross their arms, or when the presenter open their arms like this. It can express how they feel. It can express, what's in their mind. Also, last but not least, it helps illustrate the personality of the speaker. In the real presentation, you want them to recognize you as yourself. You want to be yourself. You want to show your personality and express that to the audience. So by using the body language, people can know a lot about the speaker as well. Again, when you want to enhance your communication through the body language, there are some of the rules as well. Don't overuse the body language, otherwise it's going to be distracting. Think of the time when a presenter used too many of the PowerPoint, animations. It's distracting, right? The same thing applies to the body language. If you use, too much of the body language, it can also be distracting. But if you don't use the body language at all, that can make your presentation boring as well. What about the eye contact? Well, eye contact is probably the most important thing of the body language that can help, connect the speaker through the audience. Would you like to listen to someone who speak to you but don't look at you? I think many of you guys would like to do that, right? You won't be pleased to speak to someone who don't look at you. So eye contact can help communicate from the speaker to the audience. As you present on site, make sure that you give the eye contact throughout the room, because it can communicate your confidence, it can improve the focus of the audience as well. Also, it fosters connection between the speaker and the audience. Here's a simple tip. So I call this simple tip the look, lock, and talk technique. So as you want to do the eye contact when you present, you can try to randomly choose like any particular part of the room, and then you look at that part. You may just randomly select a person in that part. You look at that person, and then you lock your eye. You lock your eye to that person, and then you talk. Talk for about just 10 or 15 seconds, and then you randomly change the location where you want to give the eye contact to. You may want to move from the left to the right person, and then you look at that person, and then you lock your eye at that person, and then you talk. And then after you finish talking, you can randomly select another person. You look at that person, you lock your eye, and then you talk for about 10 to like 15 seconds, and then you can repeat it over and over and over. So make sure that you carefully give eye contact to like throughout the room, so that your presentation is going to be more natural. When you present online, this is going to be a more difficult one, because you tend to, normally when people present online, people want to like look at the people's screen. They want to look at the actual people that they see on the screen. But if you want them to look at you, to feel that you are communicating to them, the thing that you have to look at is the camera. I think this is probably the difficult thing to practice, but it takes time, and it takes like lots of practice to get used to looking at the camera while speaking. Could be difficult, but you have to try to practice this. If you want them to feel that you are talking to them, you have to look at the camera, not look at the screen. So this comes with experience and practice. And last but not least, it's about the charisma, because different people will have different charisma by themselves. Some people might may have that charisma in their eye contact. Some people might have beautiful voice. Some people might be very energetic, that they can like light up the room, they can spark everyone's curiosity. Some people may have beautiful smiles. People love to see the smile, for example. Some people may have an excellent use of body language that can capture people's attention. Some people might have a nice personality. Some people might be fun, some people might be charming, they may look beautiful, some people may look warm, that can please the audience. So you have to find your own charisma and try to bring that out to the audience. So how can we find our own charisma? Sometimes it is much easier to ask other people, because sometimes we are not sure about ourselves, right? So we can do this kind of activity. So please turn to the person next to you. Turn to the person next to you, and then ask for the suggestion about our own charisma. So what is my personal charisma? Can you give me a suggestion? I'm sure that people sitting next to you will know you the best. What about what your charisma is? And then once you know your charisma, you can try to bring it out. You can try to emphasize your charisma during the presentation. And as you give a presentation, the most important thing is that you have to relax and enjoy. Whatever happen can happen. It can be very, you can get very nervous the first time you deliver a speech, and also during the competition as well. But you have to keep in mind that as you deliver a speech or as you compete, you have to be relaxed, you have to calm down. How can we deal with such nervousness? There's a simple tip, is to control how you breathe. Normally, if people are nervous, their heart is going to beat fast, and they will breathe fast as well. So you can try to slow down the heart rate by breathing slowly. So if you breathe slow, your heart is going to beat slowly as well. If you breathe fast, your heart is beating fast as well. So slow down your breath, take a deep breath, and breathe slowly so that you can control your heart rate. And if you don't breathe at all, your heart wouldn't beat, right? So it all can come down to how you breathe. Okay, so take a deep breath, breathe slowly, relax, enjoy, and the show must go on. Okay, so here is some simple tips and tricks for your presentation. I know that you are going to deliver your speech at a competition today, so I hope that you can deal with how to cope with nervousness through my suggestion. And I hope that you'll be inspired by my today's talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Siriwit Itisoponpisan, winner of the Audience Prize, FameLab 2021, for the invited talk on the topic, The Key to a Winning Presentation. Thank you very much for such an inspirational talk today. Thank you so much. And now is the time for us to enjoy the Science Inspiration Talk, and we are very pleased to hand over our duty to Mr. Piyamit Tuamsi. Please kindly welcome him. And thank you for us now today, and see you again tonight, and goodbye for us.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Swadikap, and good afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the host and organizer today, we would like to extend a warm welcome all of you to the first year of your Science Inspiration Talk. And once again, officially welcome all of you to Thailand, the land of Smile, and its multicultural city right here, Songkhla province. By the way, I am Piyamit Tuamsi. I am a PhD student at Faculty of Science, Prince of Songkhla University, right here. And it is my extreme pleasure and honor to be here as the person for today's competition. Today's competition we have 4 finalists to join the first year of the Science Inspiration competition. And first of all, ladies and gentlemen, before we start the competition today, we would like to introduce to all of you the judges today competition. First, the first guest is Associate Professor Dr. Dean of Faculty of Science, Prince of Songkhla University. The next guest is Associate Professor Dr. Siriwit, lecturer at Faculty of Science and Technology, Prince of Songkhla University, Pattani Campus, Thailand. And the last guest is Edith Frederica Purohito, Bachelor of Public Health and Medical Science from University of Alangkar, Indonesia. This is all for our judges for our competition today. Moreover, I would like to inform you to the competition rules for today. First of all, firstly, all contestants speak on the same topic, that is, youth engagement towards SDGs in the arts and community. Second, all of the judges' decisions are final, and individual marks will not be disclosed. And there are the timekeeper for today's competition. There are 2 students for the timekeeper. The timekeeper at the 2nd minute during your talk, the timekeeper will show you the 1 minute left side like this. Moreover, when the time's up, the time's up sign and the final warning bell will be sound at the 3rd minute like this. This is the sign and the bell warning. It is noticeable that the marks will be deducted thereafter. After that, the speaker must respond to questions posed by the judge for up to 2 minutes. The judge criteria for both speeches are on 3 aspects, including content, clarity, and charisma. The important thing are to make sure that you know your direction and set a focus on your speech. Now we should just start the competition. Here are some reminders to all of you. That's it. Everyone is not allowed to help or guide the contestants. And please lower down your voice throughout the competition today. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for start the competition? Yes. And hopefully for the contestant ready to start. Okay, we will start the competition today. Let's begin with the first contestant. Please join me to welcome for the first speaker. Please welcome Mr. Kim Hong-ae from Prince of Songkhla University, Pattani Campus, Thailand. Please go to on the stage.
Test. Good afternoon, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kim Hong-ae, representative Prince of Songkhla University, Pattani Campus, and majoring in industrial chemistry. And I will prove you how you can contribute to SDG. Generally, in SDGs, there are 20 goals, but today I will focus on the contribution of 2 SDGs between affordable and clean energy with climate action, which youth can take an important role to be toward sustainable development. Nowadays, the world is facing on a climate change. The driver of the climate change is energy consumption. So one way that we can solve this problem is employing the renewable energy to decrease climate change. All right. So, AIYC and according to Grow Asia organization, there are over 70 million family farms in South Asia. So, one way that we can implement the site and into the SDG to development is to transform the biomass into the renewable energy. Because renewable energy is a clean energy. On behalf of the youth in ASEAN region, we can make a plan by creating a campaign to spreading the importance of using renewable energy for the local people and show them how to transform agricultural residue called biomass into valuable energy such as biofuels or power generation by applying science knowledge and technology approaches. Finally, I would like to encourage youth in all regions to pay more attention, raise awareness, and contribute to the SDG by starting from ourselves and extend to community and society. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is the turn of the judges. Okay. You have 2 minutes to answer the question from the judge, please.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to ask you some questions. You were saying about employing new energy and to transform biomass into renewable energy. Am I right? Okay. Could you please give me some example? What kind of renewable energy from this biomass? Could you please?
Actually, I will explain you what is biomass first. Like normally, biomass is agricultural waste, such as manuals or waste from the farming area, like that, or poultry houses. And yes, we can transform this biomass into the renewable energy. For example, we can transform manuals into a biogas. Like actually, biogas is there are main components such as methane gas or hydrogen gas. So the methane and hydrogen gas we can convert it after the power generation or as fuel for combustion, like cooking, like that. One more example is like we can transform biomass into solid fuel as well for the heating for combustion, like that. Thank you. That's all my answer.
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much from Mr. Kim Hong-il from Prince of Songkhla University, Pattani Campus, Thailand. Let's move to the second speaker for today. So for the second speaker, please join me to welcome Ms. Muthia Rahman Azahara from University of Alangkar, Indonesia. Okay, and go on the stage and let's to talk your speech.
Test. In June of 2019, I joined my first ever international competition. It was a science and invention fair held in Indonesia, and there were over hundreds of teams from all around the world. There were a couple of things I noticed from joining this kind of event. The first was that out of all the teams that had attended, no two teams had the same ideas, inventions, or projects. Each and every one of them had their own unique ways of making a world a slightly better place, with various different kinds of problems being put forward. One team had presented their project on a social counseling for natural disaster mitigation in a small village in Indonesia. Another team had presented their invention of a smart walking aid for the handicapped. And my own team had presented our research on bioplastic made from shrimp shell waste and straw waste with biodegradable and antibacterial properties. There were countless other teams who had waste and waste management as their main problems, and each and every one of them had their own unique approaches to tackling this kind of problem. The second thing I noticed from joining this event was that there wasn't a single person who presented on their own. All of the contestants were teams, and I believe most of them had teachers or mentors on their side. What am I trying to say? Well, if you ask me how youth can contribute to sustainable development goals, my answer is we're already doing that. There are countless of us youth joining research competitions, renewable energy ideations or idea pitching competitions, and joining societies made and governed by youth with the sole purpose of achieving SDGs and creating solutions to various societal conditions. More importantly, it is with joining these events and competitions can we collaborate and find multiple ways to find ways for the sustainability of our future. Even in the Science and Invention Fair that I attended back in 2019,
Teams from various different countries and backgrounds had visited each other's booths and exchanged ideas and possible solutions for very similar problems. It is us students who have been given the opportunity to look at the world from a different perspective, to look at the world as it is, flawed and in need of our direct attention. It is with us collaborating and putting our minds together can we find various ways and solutions for the world, and a variety of them at hand. It is not the question of how we can contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals, but to what extent are we given the space to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Ms. Muthia Rahman Arsara. Next up is to have around 2 minutes for answer the question from the judge, please. Okay.
Okay, thank you. That's an inspiring talk, actually. Just one question. If you have to pinpoint all these SDG goals, we have 17. Which one you think we need most as an Asian community, and why so?
May I repeat the question? So which point in SDG to, sorry?
Probably have to pinpoint one.
Pick point one for
Yes.
the ASEAN community.
Yes, and why so?
I personally choose quality of education as a pinpoint goal for ASEAN as a whole. Why? Because for me, education is very important. For me, I believe education as a right for every single individual, and to fulfill that right and to give that right in the best quality for all the people, including ASEAN, can improve the livelihoods of the generations to come. And it is also our investment in the in the upcoming generations. Can we further find creative minds and creative assets to further give more solutions and sustain our future? I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for Ms. Muthia Rahman Azhara from University of Airlangga, Indonesia. Next up, let's move to next speaker. The next speaker is the third speaker for today. The third speaker, please welcome Mr. Mark Jammer, from University of the Philippines. This is the third speaker. Let's get the microphone and go to the stage to give us your speech for today in the topic Youth Engagement towards SDGs in the ASEAN community. You have 3 minutes to give your talk.
To the panel of judges and the rest of the audience, a pleasant day to everyone. Climate change, food insecurity, inaccessible healthcare, and poor education. As soon as you turn on the television or search the news on the internet, these are the things that you will most likely see nowadays. With the overwhelming issues that the world faces today, the question arises, how can the youth contribute to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals? My ASEAN fellows, we are in the decade that is crucial and decisive for the future of humanity and the planet. Let me answer this question in 3 simple points: checking our head, our hearts, and our hands. First is the head. It is said that awareness precedes change. However, many of the young people today are still unaware of the Sustainable Development Goals. So it is our responsibility as youth to engage in conversations to make people our peers, our family members aware about the Sustainable Development Goals and why do we have them? Second is the heart. With the numerous global challenges, it can be overwhelming to solve everything at the same time. Choosing just one SDG can provide you with clarity and stronger motivation. Say if you are interested in protecting biodiversity, then you can perhaps advocate for life on land, which is SDG 15. Or if you are interested in teaching the underserved children in your community, then you can perhaps advocate for SDG 4, which is quality education. Next, finally, is what we call the hands. Awareness and passion are nothing without action. And so it is very important that we go beyond words and really do something in order to make change in the society that we live in. Our heads, our hearts, and our hands must be attuned together in order to effectively contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals that we have today. I believe that as youth, we have a critical role to play in the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. And I hope that by 2030, as soon as we open the television or search the news on the internet, we will be able to see news such as climate resiliency, food security, and quality education. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much from Mr. Mark. Where do you come in? Next, you have 2 minutes to answer the questions from the judges. Please.
All right, thank you. All right, Mark, Virgil, very well explained about the head, hearts, and hands. I'm sure you already have your awareness, you already picked one of the SDGs or more. So my question is, have you done some action about it? And what kind of action have you been doing until now?
Thank you very much for that question. Well, in terms of promoting the Sustainable Development Goals, I'm actually very interested in SDG 7, which is affordable and clean energy. In fact, I have been involved in different projects that promotes sustainable and renewable energies, such as solar power and wind energy. In the Philippines, it is very important for us to advocate for clean, affordable energy because many of islands in the Philippines cannot access electricity because it's islands and we are an archipelago. So it's very important that we advocate this SDG 7. Personally, I have been going to different communities, specifically in rural communities, in order to promote the use of renewable energies like solar panels. Just this year, I have went to a rural community called Tanay Rizal, which is very near the capital of the Philippines, which is Manila. And it was very interesting and very fulfilling to see, to help the people, my fellow Filipinos in rural communities. And I know that my fellow Southeast Asian students here will also be fulfilled if you also try to go to the rural communities and also promote the Sustainable Development Goals in your own communities. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much. That is for Mr. Mark from University of the Philippines. Oh wow, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to the last speaker for today. The last speaker for today will from the University of Malaysia. Please join me to welcome Mr. Muhammad Azizun Hakim Zazali from National University of Malaysia. Wow, lots of the fan club for today. Okay, let's get your microphone and go on the stage. And you have 3 minutes to take your turn to give us of the speech. Go.
Test 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's good. Can start. Yeah. Let's think. What are the things that make us capable to contribute? We have to identify this because we want to contribute. I believe that most of Asian youth with a good heart are willing to contribute something after witnessing a lot of issues that give negative impact to our people, our local community. But sadly, this is not enough. As a youth, we have to be powerful enough to have a good heart with the capacity of capability like knowledge, experience, influence, and position, because that is the condition where changes is highly possible. That is the condition where changes becomes reality. So the second question is, how do we obtain this? How do we obtain those capacities? First, knowledge. I highly encourage every one of you to focus on your education, because to achieve SDGs, we require a lot of experts from various fields. Be one of them. And the second is experience. Joins volunteering activities, programs, projects, because this will allow you to see and observe the issues from the ground level. And the best part is meeting experiences people and learn from them. And the third is influence. Build influence by start advocating and educating people about SDGs. You can begin with your small circle of friends and then grow your audience. And the fourth is position. Obtain the position by having a worthful skills and competency, because the position will allow you to have the power of be the decision maker and create changes. And I'm happy to conclude my talk that we are right now in the right place, doing the right thing. Being here discussing about ASEAN and SDGs, this is the 17 goals, which is partnership for the goals. And I hope we will keep doing this. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much for Mr. Mohammed. Next up, let's take around 2 minutes to answer the question, please.
Muhammad Azul, this is very inspiring speech. I'm very happy to listen to your speech. My question is that if you are given a chance to meet your Prime Minister, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, and you have 2 minutes to meet him, what is the main message you will tell him about implementing SDG in Malaysia?
For me, I'm going to give a suggestion to put emphasis on the 13th goal, which is climate action, because in my country, climate action really needs to be done, because the extreme weather is getting frequent, and it affects a lot of people, the kids, the elders. It's very vulnerable for them, and I hope that we ASEAN should take drastic action, like start implementing the renewable energy and others methods. I think that's my answer. Thank you.
Wow. This is for the last speaker. Thank you very much from Mr. Muhammad Azizun Hagim Sasali from the National University of Malaysia. This is for all of the constituents today. Thank you very much for all constituents. They delivered the interacting for speech. And could you once again give big round of applause, please? Wow, thank you very much. Right now, we are taking a short break to give time to the other honorable justice to calculate the marks. The result for today's competition will be announced during the closing ceremony later. Before we end for today, we would like to acknowledge the importance of the judges who came by and dedicate with wisdom to pick the winners for today's competition. Without their commitments and wise decisions, we would not get the winner for today's competition. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that this competition will be a sweet memory for all of the contestants. Nevertheless, you win or lost. That's all for today's event. However, The ASEAN Night and International Food Festival will be available tonight. You can enjoy not only the food tonight, but also you can enjoy a lot of the activity, such as the games, and you will get the rewards tonight. Moreover, you can enjoy the contemporary ASEAN fashion show. So I would like to invite all of you to join this activity tonight. This activity tonight will be available at the Student Activity Building. So let's go to join tonight together. Okay, so for today, on behalf of the organized committee, I would like to apologize if we have done any mistake throughout the competition period. And so today, I end my duty as MC for today's event. I am Piyamit Chomsi. Till we meet again next year. Thank you very much and สวัสดีครับ